So good morning. I will start this because if not, we will not have time. But we are so few now and we'll have more time to discuss. So good morning. Welcome to the Planetary Health Annual Meeting. We will start. My presentation will be around this Planetary Health K-12 Education Toolkit. But before talking about this toolkit, I would like to start a conversation here with you about what is the children's point of view to planetary health. What is planetary health to children's eyes, you know? I'm Tatiana Camargo, and I'm a biologist. I'm associate professor in Federal University of South Rio Grande do Sul, which is South Brazil. My research is focused on science teaching and science and technology and society. I am a science education and PhD in science education advisor. I am a member of Planetary Health Brazil, and now, most recently, I am a member of Lancet Countdown South America, and I am PHA Education Fellow. So this is my background. This is where I look through this subject. So to start, just take a look at your table. There are some drawings, and 2 weeks ago, I went to a Brazilian school of children. They are third grade children in Brazil. They have 8 to 9 years, and I talked to them about planetary health and climate change, and I asked them to help me with my presentation here today, and asked them to send you a message about climate change, about how they comprehend this, and how we scientists could make this better for them. So please take a look at the drawings. And they have translations because they wrote messages in Portuguese. So what do you see in these drawings? This is an interactive session, people, so please take the microphone and let me take the microphone. So just take one and talk to us. What do you see in your drawing?
Well, just to say that
It is working.
Yeah. It's working. Just to say that I'm her husband, and this was done in our child classroom. So I happen to know this little girl and her family because I'm the doctor of the family, and I'm looking at the drawing, and I see a tree and a butterfly and a yellow heart and rain, and there's a little guy in the middle. He's yellow.
It's a minion.
It's a minion.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought so, but I'm not sure what he's holding.
I don't know.
Is that?
Yeah.
And the hat seems like a guy in jail, maybe. I don't know. And maybe he looks like he has some kind of something. I don't know. I'm very biased because in Brazil we're going through a lot of destruction of the forest. Maybe something for destroying the forest, or.
He wrote a message. He wrote a message.
I wish there were many trees in the world. Yeah, maybe it's a machine to plant trees then. Yeah, it's good that she wrote. And there's a yellow heart, so probably the heart of the minium. Okay. Miniums are supposed to be sort of evil, but
they're
here
kind of they cooperate with the scientist, which was it was mean, but becomes a good guy, and so they,
miniums are sort of nice and work for the evil, so yeah, with a good heart. So I think she envisions a loving world with animals and nice environmental health, really.
Yeah.
I'll share quickly. Just sharing quickly here. This kid, Isaias, 9-year-old, his drawing is called O Mundo Agora, the world right now. And he says, and I'll translate, not enough food in the world, and he draws a broken heart. Nobody in the world is taking care of him. The trees are dehydrated. The trees of the world are dying. Too few trees in the world. And the drawing is a tree, garbage, and a sad face. So it's pretty starky.
So I have one here from Alice, who's 8, and the message is, don't ignore climate change. And the perspective is really interesting here. And it took me a while to sort of understand it, but I think I understand. So there's sort of a line through the middle, and on the top half you've got bright colors, you got trees, bicycles, houses, looks like a happy person. And on the bottom, which sort of looks like a mirror reflection, it's all in sort of black and white, and you've got a factory sort of with pollution, you've got a yellow car. It's not clear whether it's a jail or it's just a big building, but it's sort of a really interesting perspective way of contrasting the sort of bright future if we don't ignore climate change, I guess, and the contributors to climate change.
Okay, so for my drawing, so the translation of what the child wrote, it's plant trees for the world. And then Amazon, don't cut. So here, the drawing, I can see the Amazon, but there's actually there's a scarcity of trees. And then the child also drew a building, but with plants on it. So I guess the child envisions even in an urban city, it's possible to have a living organic space.
Yes, and this one was particularly curious for me because they are children that live in a rural area, and they draw a building. It's interesting, a building with trees.
Yeah, exactly. So this child can be an architect.
Yeah.
Hello. My drawing is from Vinicius, and he drew a game, kind of like a game. It says here, the stickers are how much lives the Earth still has, and that is if we don't take care of it. It will lose all its lives like a game. And there's like the planet very healthy with trees, the planet suffering with an alarmed face, and then the planet lying dead. Yeah, I found this interesting.
Yeah.
Right, so I chose a work which is not a drawing, because I think like hearing from what others have said, there's like a common theme of like planting trees, taking more of the planet, but this one is quite interesting because it shows curiosity of a child. So it doesn't have a drawing, but it has quite a little bit of questions. So I'm just going to read what he wrote. I wonder if when we die, there will be adults to take care of the children, and if these children, when they are 100 years old, will die too. Did you know that I saw on TikTok that a boy, actually a grandfather, was 400 years old, and he didn't die, and he was a grandfather, and his granddaughter went to visit him in the hospital. I wonder what year it was, 2026. So for me, it's just a boy showing curiosity, but also for me, it's like showing what social media,
Yeah.
like how powerful social media is, such as TikTok, social media platforms. Like, this is basically like, no one can live like 400 years old, right? So like, the information that we show in social media about planetary health, about the environment, could really have a triggering factor, like an important contribution to what like children could understand or think about. So
Yeah,
it's quite
and not connecting this subject of death and this anxiety about death, because when we talk about climate change, he connected with these questions with, you know, it's interesting. Yeah.
Thanks.
Good morning, everybody. So I have a drawing. I don't know who the artist is, but the translation is, I wanted to plant trees, care for the creeks, and help. And there's this little forest of pretty trees, and there's this character holding a watering can, watering one of the trees. And I think one of the things I like about it is that in all the other ones that I've heard described, there's no real agency, really. There's this sense of, you know, I don't want to live in this world that's gone the wrong way, and the world is dying, and we have to address climate change, but there's not a real sense of the artist as an actor solving the problem themselves. And here, this person has got their bucket, and they're watering the tree, and so they're getting involved, which is really cool.
Yeah. So yeah, there's some interesting elements that comes from the drawings. The worries about death, the agency, the questions of the planet dying, and who will take care of the child of the future. So this give us a little picture of what they think about when we talk about climate change, because they are like 8 to 9, I believe that one of them was 10 years old, but when I talked about climate change, I kind of know about this, but they have this mixed visions. There's one that was really interesting. This one, I don't know. He said that climate change was good. It was one disruptive. Climate change was good because I would love that in the summer we could have more days like summer. Because summer is good because I could swim. So the climate could change in a way that we will have more summer and winters less cold. So we'll have more days to play. So this one still have this idea of changing in some kind of ways, but most of them have this a kind of negative image about climate change, and they're just focused on planting trees. I believe that maybe could me, because I talked a lot about Amazonia, and I believe that it has a Brazilian bias, because we talk a lot in the last months about Amazon and all this political situation in Brazil that we have been through. So today is such an amazing day for us Brazilians that Lula got elected yesterday, and this will make the world a little better for everyone, and save a lot of trees in Amazon. So I believe that this was really interesting to me, to see how they look to this, which we are talking about, and how we could consider this and when we are constructing some activities. So first questions, and believe that you here could answer this with good references, but why focus on children and youth? Why? You know? And thinking that they are not just the future, but they are also the present. And they are living the present here and needs to develop knowledge to deal with the future. And I believe that children, in their most different ways of living and geographical differences, cultural differences, they are experiencing a world in changing. This word of climate change. This was a word so different from when we were children. And these are affecting how they see their perspectives of life. No? Those are some references that I got from mental health and children and youth and connecting with climate change. So one that I believe that's the strongest one is that 60% of the interviewed children and youth said that they feel very or extremely sad and concerned about climate change. And this is important to us to see how strong this is to us to deal with this, and how we should act. But it's also a number that points us how we could create educational tools that helps them get knowledge but without feeling anxious. How we could make the climate change action and activism without create more anxious. Do you have any ideas about this? We could, yeah, we have time and we are few, so we could just discuss this better. It's more interesting.
I think we need to use the microphones
Yeah.
because of the online.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was actually discussing this with Mark yesterday on how to convey the message that we really need to act because things are not good. But we also need people to not feel paralyzed by fear or denial, because that's what happens, at least with adults, many times. So there's a trick that I learned with the guy, one of the guys that founded the Lancet Countdown on Health and Climate Change. It's a very simple trick. So you have to give 30% bad news about climate change and 70% good news about climate change. And that's a rule, I guess you say rule of thumb, yeah, that I've tried to maintain. So
He said this for adults, yeah? And
yeah,
it works. It will work for a child.
I don't know.
I don't know. It's a question, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And how give bad news to a child? This is difficult. Yeah, but yes, we should imbalance in this. It's not 50-50%. And I believe that even when I show them a bad news, I show them that we have ways of changing that and how we could change that, you know.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was gonna say. I've been talking to students, university students, but so maybe youth, and I try to also to always say things that could be done, and things that that people have been doing, examples of. And in the last lecture that I participated in, I said that we have to be creative. We don't have all the answers yet, so here are some creative things that people have been doing. That's it.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And I think that emphasis on there being opportunities that we don't have the answers is also sort of intriguing, because I think children get used to adults giving them answers. Yeah. And so saying, actually, we've just made a great big mess here and we need some help is probably a really interesting way to get kids engaged. I think going back to the agency thing, in terms of the mental health dimensions, that collective action is something that I think not only is really important to address the problem, but it's also been shown to address these feelings of sort of paralysis and apathy, and that so finding ways to bring kids together to do a project and work in community addresses those feelings of sort of isolation and the problem's too big for me. So I think that can be interesting. But I also think this need to paint a picture of an aspirational future of a world that's super, super exciting, and that would be an amazing project if we could build it together. And I find when I'm giving lectures, even to college students, that when they ask, so what can we do, that it's really important to emphasize that there's not a person in the room that doesn't have something really meaningful to contribute, no matter what their abilities are. If they're artists, if they're scientists, if they're lawyers and government thinkers, they all have a role to play in building this sort of aspirational world. And so painting a picture of something super positive, what the world could look like in 100 years or 50 years, and then emphasizing that this is the most exciting time to be born in the history of humanity. I mean, this is this great drama that they are going to be able to participate in to chart a new course for humanity that's actually consistent with a livable future for themselves and for the rest of life on Earth, but that there is that drama, and getting them engaged in the excitement of building that world, I think, is important, as opposed to this just sort of incredibly destructive statements like Jim Hansen saying game over for the planet, or these sort of catastrophic statements that just shut people down, whereas it's more, we have this big challenge, but look how cool it could be if we figured it out.
Thanks for that, Sam. I also want to say I don't have kids, but I've seen my nephews grow up, and it's just how amazing how we can model good behaviors on them, right? And I remember my little nephew growing up. My parents have a dog, and his instinct would be like to hit the dog, hit the dog. And then you would have to go, no, you have to be gentle with the dog, gentle. And you would do like this, and so you gently caress the dog with the little boy, right? Yeah. And then they learn that the dog is not there for hurting, but kind of bringing that to scale, right? Kind of modeling that for the planet, basically, right? Yeah. Because they see us and they see, okay, so my papa drives a car, so I want to drive a car. My papa takes the plane, so I want to take the plane. My papa eats meat, so I want to eat meat, right? And then all that conveys in generations, right? So part of that modeling also, some of that responsibility, especially with younger age kids, lies on us. And then you have these younger, like 8, 9-year-olds that grow up to be activists, 16, 18, and you have them throwing tomato soup, and you're like, they're right, they're angry because we told them this is important, and then we don't do much about it. And they're like, what the heck's going on? So I can understand the anger behind, or the desperation behind some of those actions, and kind of, because we tell them, take care of the planet, recycle, do this and that, and then when they grow up, they're like, no one's doing anything. Yeah.
And in the case of these children, they live in a community that maybe they don't have in their family good models for this kind of taking care of the climate, because, that's also the role of the school, because maybe they will not have these good examples in their family, but the school is also, not just the school, but this educational activities that could be conducted at school, but in a community level, in other places, because this provides also the examples. Because, the best is if they have these close examples, but we deal also with these children that will not have these good examples, and how we teachers could provide, because I always talk from the point of view of a teacher, how we teachers could provide them these good examples, just to imbalance this. Sorry, could.
No, I was just going to add more a question than a solution. I wanted to build off something that Sam had mentioned. And I don't know if it's really a failure of imagination of the future, of a positive future. And there was an article in the New York Times recently about using the country of Uruguay as a model of what the future could look like. And the point of the journalist was to say, often we are stuck without seeing what that future might look like. And I think I'd be curious to hear what people think about, how do we paint a picture of the future that's both positive but realistic? Because often when I hear people talk about this future, it seems so la-la land that
Yeah.
it doesn't really help me move forward.
Yeah.
And so I think, and maybe, for the teacher, it's asking the kids what a positive future would look like from the kids, and so that they build it themselves rather than it giving to them. But
Yeah. So this was just keeping on the mental health and children and youth question, but I will now start to present a little more about this K-12 toolkit. That's not just for K-12. It started to K-12 to this school point of view, but it's much more, you see. This kit started to develop when I engaged as a PHA Education Fellow, and I started to talk with Carlos and see that this could be a good way to go, focus on this task of developing a material that could be shared with PH community and to stimulate, to inspire educational activities for children and for youth. And I know that's difficult. Yeah, we are talking in our last meeting, the group with which I work, that I will present, that one of the difficulties to the people which are working with planetary health education activities for children is that this is not their main focus of research. This is not their main theme, But it's such an important thing that even not being the main subject of research or the main work, a lot of people or a lot of organizations have educational activities for children. So how we could, and this is a question that I don't have answer, but it's now how we, Planetary Health Alliance community, could move forward to a way that educate children and youth in planetary health could be a center, a main subject, because this is important. This is the present, but this is also the future. There will be the scientists, there will be. So taking this to the center is important. And I believe that starting to gathering people with this material could be a modest contribution, but a good contribution. And this idea comes from this same framework, which the authors are here and could present better than me. But this toolkit, the idea now is to organize a kind of e-book with some good stories to inspire people, not just teachers, but people who want to develop an education activity with children about planetary health. And how I choose these people that will be presenting their stories in the kit. They are people which already presented some poster or some side event in PH meetings. So I reached them by the abstracts and invited them to tell their story with planetary health education to this toolbook. Because I believe that not just giving the materials is important, but giving the materials that they use, but give the people the story behind this material. So now I will start to present a little bit of the participants who will write a kind of chapter for this ebook. The ebook, my intention is to finish this by the end of the year, but I depend that all the contributors finish their texts, but it's going really well. I will start with the Brazilian participants. How I am Brazilian, you see that have more Brazilians because it's the people that I connected more. And I have more connections and contacts. The first one is Paula. Paula lives in Amazon, and she is presenting a material about teaching planetary health to riverside communities in Amazonia. So this drawing is from her material, you know, a kind of the same kind of aesthetic conceptions of that is a river, Rio Madeira of Amazon, and the upside is if all bad things keep burning Amazonia, and the lower side is a view of Amazon, which is preserving the culture, the traditional people, but also with very technological and clean energy. And this is the kind of future that we could inspire, you know. The other one is Jussara and Natalia. They are both from São Paulo, and they have a wonderful work with citizen science and school meals, and discussing about school meals and how the food issue is connected with planetary health. And this is so important to talk about food and ways of consuming and producing food. This other one is also centered in food, and this is in central Brazil, near Brasília. It's from Goiânia. And this is from a group that's called Sustentária. And they work with teachers and in schools to develop recipes from plants and from not just exotic plants, but they develop recipes from what we call punks, which are a kind of plants that they are native and then they could be used for feeding purpose. This one is the video. This group is a group of youngers in Salvador, Bahia, and they work with teenagers and children in schools. Could play the video. It has subtitles, do not sound. But just to give the image of the context of Bahia. This is an interesting group because they are so young, and they work with teenagers, but they work in schools with children. And this was a group that was organized by them. It was not organized by a teacher or not. They organized it in climate strikes that connected with Fridays for Future, and then they started a material to children in school in Bahia. The other one is from South Brazil, Thais Martins. Lucas Sulino, which is from São Paulo and works in a very difficult environment. He is working with Planetary Health Education for teenagers that are in social education measures. They are teenagers that did something and the justice closed them in this institution. So this is also a challenge, how to talk to planetary health with these people that in the first moment it's not connected, but it's also so connected because they are the most vulnerable persons that will be most affected. This other ones, with this one for the picture, is the Professor Neuza Viana. She is also from Bahia. She will be here presenting this project of Planet Air. She is with air monitoring, air monitor in her hands, and her project is focused on air monitoring and how teach about climate change and planetary health by air monitoring in schools with children. This other one is a material developed by the Brazilian campus ambassadors of the last year, and is a material focused also on food. They call it food detectives, and it's a material, it's organized as a teacher's course to talk about planetary health with food. Those are the international ones that I call, but those are from Africa. So Chanel has this beautiful material. She will talk about her activities in South Africa with youngers in South Africa. Melvin will talk a little about what they are doing with children in Planetary Health Eastern Africa Hub, because they also have good activities. Nightingale and Nathan, they are not arrived yet, but they are participating also, and they will talk about their activities in Africa, too, in Kenya. Julio De Leo, which is a colleague from Stanford, and he has an amazing, amazing work in San Francisco Bay, but also in Africa, in Senegal, with schistosomiasis, and he works a lot about children education, about the questions connected with climate and these infectious diseases. And Pearl is here. He will present her project in some more moments. And this other one is ASER Foundation, which is a North America foundation, but they work in Peruvian Amazon, and they have a really good material. They teach teachers, they teach children in Peruvian Amazon, and they make a kind of interchange. How do we say intercambio in English? Interchange of teachers from Delaware to Peruvian, and this is such a great idea. The video will have sound or not? Not. So I will not present. This is an amazing video about Amazon, but if we will not have sound, it's not so interesting. The other one, and this is such a beautiful drawing that I love, so I put here, is from Latin America. It's from an organization called React Latin America, which is an organization focused on antimicrobial resistance, and they developed activities for children because when we talk about biodiversity laws, we are talking about macro biodiversity laws and micro biodiversity laws also. So they have a really beautiful material, so cultural connected with Latin America cosmology. So that is Pachamama with her arms formed by the mountains and the snow, and this flows as rivers and construct all the world, and the world with the beautiful and good bacteria flying over there. So this is a very good material that they will present. Also, this is a initiative that have already 10 years and works in like 12, I believe, 12 countries in Latin America. So yeah, I will come back. I will pass you, Pearl, to talk about you a little, but I would like to just say that one of the best things about organizing this material is to reach this person, to reach these people, to reach this organization, and to see how marvelous things are happening, and how we could just maybe gather in these people and say to them, oh, you're just doing such a great work, so please continue and share. So this is the best. How to map this is just so joyful and inspires us. So I hope that this inspiration, joyful energy could be in this material that we could share with this planet, with our planetary health community. Hi. Good morning. So Pearl, if you want to come, please, just to present your material.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. So happy to be here. Happy to meet you all in person finally. So I'm here to present some of the works we've done through Planet of Young Professionals over the years since the pandemic. I mean, since 2020. So I'm Pearl. So I'm a new postdoc at UCSF, and I'm also one of the co-founders of Planet of Young Professionals. Planet started actually in 2020. At the same time, I became a Planetary Health Campus Ambassador. So the main aim of Planet is to create a network of young students, young professionals interested in planetary health, to put in practice planetary health principles and increase awareness through planetary health concept. So here is our logo. So this logo kind of has a meaning into it. So one of our colleagues, Christina, made this logo for us. So the green circle here represents the planet, and the leaves that you see represent young people, and the dots here show the connection that we hope to establish along the way. So we have 3 pillars, which are education, advocacy, and creativity. So, so through creativity, since most of our members come from different disciplines, not just from academia, we have architects, we have artists. So we want to leverage their talents to kind of not just to promote planetary health, but also to inculcate or to develop their skills. And also, we are a member of the PHA, and we also have an advisory board that guide us. So currently, we have individual members from all around the world. Our network, we have members from, of course, the USA. We have members from Europe, in which Aware Planet started in France, actually. So we have members from Asia, the Philippines, which where I'm originally come from. And then we have members from Australia, even in Latin America as well. So since Planet started in 2020, so we've been doing our projects virtually. So of course, because of COVID, and also because we wanted to, since we're becoming international network, we want to, what's this? We want to reach more youth. So here, we've been doing our meetings through Zoom, and also we kind of made our virtual office through GatherTown. So yeah, so I hope so we kind of had a kind of a test of having a book club through GatherTown, but I hope it continues. Actually, we just had one-time event for the book club. So I think it went well, but I hope it will move forward. And also through Planet, we were able to do live webinars. So we've reached out to experts, not just in planetary health, but environmental health, even artificial intelligence, just to because one of the aims that we want to pursue is that we get to spread planetary health in other disciplines, and in doing so, we want to invite other experts from other fields, so that this is the way to introduce planetary health, the planetary health paradigm, by asking them how, in their field, for example, they could help in taking care of the environment. Because during that time, I feel like planetary health is still new, and not everyone really knows what planetary health is. So I remember I asked someone if they know planetary health, what is planetary health, and I think someone answered, oh, is it about the planets? Like, so I think, yeah, it's important to reach out to other disciplines like people in the AI or business to be part of our family. And also, we also encourage our members to do blogs, blog posts about the environment, and also a way to, as I mentioned, to develop their skills in writing. We also made some lifestyle videos. So these are the videos on the left are like lifestyle videos that individuals can do. So like Sam mentioned, like having agency to create change. So we try as much as possible to give examples, even in their daily lives, you know, they can do something. And then also we, through advocating also for the planet, like we try to, so these posters are made by our members, so we try to create messages and post them on social media, since especially the youth, social media is their world now, so we try to leverage social media as much as possible. And also through Planet, we try to create competitions or challenge people. So not just the youth, but also the general public. So here, these are the photos from a photo contest. So I think if I remember, the contest was for them to take a photo of the environment that made an impact to them. So this is during the COVID. So if you can see there, that's a picture of Paris. It's it's really empty. Like during the pandemic, it's so clean. You can see because the streets were empty. But oh my, I know. If it's not a pandemic, you will see a lot of people, garbage everywhere. So it's really it made an impact. And also, so that too, the one, it's from India, photo from India, a participant from India. So they made like sanitary pads that are sustainable, reusable. And also this is one of the competitions that we've put out as well. This is a zero waste 1 week challenge. So per day we challenge people like, okay, today can you use a reusable straw, stainless straw instead of, you know, plastic straws, and then the second day can you use a tote bag for groceries instead of plastics. And so that was for Planet actually. So it was mostly really presenting what Planet had done. And also I'm just going to introduce to you a project with the Conservatoire National des Arts et Métiers, where I did my PhD, and in collaboration with the Alliance Santé Planetaire. So we created a animated series for the general public, because one of the things we've noticed is that some of the materials are very academic. So we want to create animated videos that kids or adults could watch in a very simple terms and very entertaining way. So it's an animated series of videos 1 to 5. So it's now on YouTube if you'd like to watch it. And for the next step, we're trying to put a subtitle, because now it's in French actually. So hopefully we'll get the English translations. And just in summary, key messages on how we can teach children. So these tips are
based on Sheola Gilmore's tips actually for teaching children in English, but I think they're also relevant in teaching planetary health. So I think first it's important for us to build an understanding of how the youth learn, like Tatiana mentioned earlier. Second, it's to understand how play and creativity actually stimulate children's natural way to, or curiosity to learn. And we need also to tune into the youth and empathize with them. Like, as Tatiana mentioned, kids have a different way of learning, even how they perceive the world. And of course, it's also important to challenge them at the right level. And because if not, as Tatiana mentioned, we can create eco-anxiety. So, thank you.
And I will propose you this, that the children from Brazil send you a message here, and I told them that I will ask you to send a message to them also. So I will give you a paper and just send them a message about the conference, and I will back to the school and present them what you said to them, okay? I'll just give some minutes. And so as are you writing, we have a tight time. I would just say thank you so much for being here today and the opportunity of discuss and hear you all. And I would love to read the message also.